perception versus reality are two different things. I'm a parent and sometimes my kids will be arguing about something. He took this or she took that, and they get all upset. And sometimes as a parent, you just don't want to hear it, but we got to sit them down and we have to have them communicate what the issues are. And sometimes we ask them, like, what would you do if you were in that situation, if you had to step into their shoes, and vice versa. And sometimes, since they're a little bit older, a little bit more mature, they'll say, okay, I kind of get it now. Just this week, my daughter was upset because it was something about the dishes, because my two oldest, they go back and forth. They each have a week to do dishes. It's not fair because this happened and that happened. But when I really broke things down, I told my daughter how, her brother didn't do dishes on certain days. However, didn't daddy help you and take out the trash some days? Also, I don't like to do this. Sometimes we have food that I'm embarrassed to say starts to get old in the refrigerator, and I know you think it's just, I take those dishes, I empty them out, and I wash them. She still has to wash the other dishes, but I wash those. And then we'll be able to resolve that conflict. So some people's perception is their reality, but there is a difference. Remember, I'm a teacher, not a speaker. There's something known as refraction. That's one of the ways that light interacts. Now, a lot of us are familiar with reflection. Like if my forehead looks a little shiny, that's the light reflecting off of my forehead, right? But there's another way that a light wave can interact. It's known as refraction. So when light goes from one medium, I would say, to another medium, its speed is going to change. Now, a medium is simply anything that a wave could travel through, right? So light travels through, it could be air, light could travel through liquids. So when light goes from the air and it goes into water, it slows down, and we don't even have to get that deep. If you've ever ran around a pool and then jumped in the pool and tried to run, you're gonna run slower because water is more dense than air. So your speed will slow down. That same thing happens to light. As light travels down, let's say naturally from the sun, it travels throughout our solar system, through our atmosphere, and it comes down, and we could be by a pool or by a lake. And what happens is that light wave travels through the air, but when it hits the water, it's gonna slow down as well, and there's gonna be a little bit of distortion. That's why if you see somebody sitting in a pool with their legs in the water, their legs may look bent or broken. Or if I were spearfishing, or if there was like a bird of prey swooping down to get a fish in the water, if I were to look at where the fish is, it's not actually there. That's my perception as to where the fish is, but it's actually off just a little bit because the light wave, remember, as humans, we see using light, right? So what happens is the light wave, it bends when it goes from the air into the water. So we're looking at the fish and the fish looks like it's right there, but it's actually over here, or it's actually back over here, but it's due to refraction, the bending of that light wave. There's a difference between the perception of where the fish is and where the fish actually is. Now, that's the amazing thing about birds of prey. They factor that in. They factor in that concept. Or I remember in a movie, there was a movie, Castaway, and the main character had the spear and he could not get the fish, but with experience, he understood the concept of refraction. The fish appeared to be right here, but once again, it may have been over here or over here. And there's something else known as the Doppler Effect, right? I don't know about you all, but I love watching sports bikes. I just remember, and I hear that noise. But check this out. What does the Doppler effect mean, or what is it? Well, the Doppler effect is when the pitch of a sound appears to change, okay? But the only reason it sounds like it changes is because that object is moving. So the sound waves, okay, the sound waves are gonna change up some. So the pitch is gonna appear to change, but it's actually really constant. Once again, think about that sports bike. If you stand in one location, now what is moving? The bike? So when the bike is moving, this is what you hear. If you're actually riding the bike, all you hear is if you're traveling at a constant speed. It sounded different to you if you were standing still and the bike went by. Once again, there's a difference between reality and perception. And when that sound appears to change, just like an ambulance, of course the sound does change, but okay, my sound effects are so amazing. I get it. But that ambulance sound appears to change due to the Doppler effect. So there is a difference between perception and reality. The fish, it appears to be right here, but it's actually over here. A sports bike, we hear all the different noises. Once again, my amazing sound effects, okay? But if you're actually on the bike maintaining that speed, it's a constant sound. And it sounds different depending on where you're located compared to the object that's producing the sound. We could apply that to maybe a conflict, a misunderstanding, to take the time to truly have a better idea what the other person is thinking, have a better idea how something can be perceived, because perception is reality to some people, but there is a difference between perception and reality. Take the time to identify that. And remember, I'm a teacher, not a speaker. I want you to have an amazing day.